welcome to the Grandma Crew podcast, y'all.
What's up?
This is episode 3, and yeah, we're basically just recording the conversations that we normally have and sharing it with the world in case any other starseeds, or UFO people or astrology people or
anything in that metaphysical soup.
Yeah, so,
or conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, what's on y'all's minds?
So, I don't know if it was recording while I was just kind of ranting, but the idea of UFOs and aliens and all is getting more into mainstream, but thinking about beyond the politics of it and the technology of it, I'm excited about the spirituality of it.
Space Jesus.
I want to fly in a UFO.
So you want to fly in a UFO? That's the technology of it. I want to hear what they're selling at least.
It's funny that you actually bring this up because my brother and we were talking the other day, and it was like, "Oh, is this a trick to get us to try to go into space?" Because, like, dude, how many of us is it not your dream to like at least do Star Trek shit or be like flying around discovering the unknown? Right? Like, it's really easy to play towards anybody. And he was like, kind of a bummer that it seems like that's the path that they're choosing is like a fake, not giving us the whole picture, just kind of rolling us out into a new panic thing where it's like, oh, this is just a new way of life. This is just how it's going. And not being any of the wiser as to how long we've been active in anything. And it's like, they're really attacking the thing you want the most. Right? Like, oh, we'd love to go explore space. Oh, but you're just going to be in servitude. And at that point, it's like, starts raising questions of, do you just servitude yourself for the experience?
Yeah, it's funny you say servitude. I like all the different wordings, and it's like, and we've also played around with contracted. Like all this idea of service, like whether it's whatever it is, serving God, serving the military, serving whatever in that, taking on a contract, and what you buy into and the different belief systems. And I definitely think that as science and technology and all that expands, belief systems, like what is around the corner when it comes to the disillusionment of the collective, something that we have all been putting faith into that is not what it seems to be. The government is the obvious suspect, but it's
their money, dude. It's like we're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. You get trillions of dollars more in debt every year, and that's only a third.
Well, I mean, even you were talking about the thinking about where the beef comes from, in how much it would take to supply the animals that are being consumed at like one restaurant in a day. So it's like the reality behind things is just vastly different than what everyone is allowed to kind of float along thinking. And I feel like there is a suspension of that is coming where like there's something new. There's some new beliefs, there's some new technology, there's some new disclosure that is still not the full enchilada, but it at least it opens that bigger paddock. It opens that wider frequency range and bandwidth that is necessary, and the flavor and the picture and the drama of the service is just changing up.
So me and Ash were talking about like secret space program stuff, and if you were a part of secret space program stuff, you've already done space exploration, correct?
Yeah.
But you have no recollection of it. So now imagine that they're coming at you, to this person, this being, and giving you that option again, and then you sign on only to remember everything, right? Oh, it's what they want you to remember. You don't get the remembrance of like everything that happened, but the way that it would work, I feel, is to be biological. That once you saw something, it would just spark everything that they were trying to block in you. Which it seems to me, again, with like AI and everything technological that we're working on, seems to be more of a how can we make you forget shit quickly process, right? How can we steal your brain function and execute dopamine, right? So that you get distracted easily. Because now you're looking to this stuff for all your dopamine, for everything you need to watch your TikToks, because your brain doesn't know anything any better. But it knows that that's an easy reward system. That's training you, right? So it's like, well, if you're implementing all of this, and even with the AI that we're using, this is where I'm talking about what we're doing is not benevolent at all. Okay? There's nothing behind it at all that points to, oh, this is the greatest thing for humanity, over this is the worst thing we could possibly do to ourselves. Well, the way we're implementing it already, without this super AI being created.
Let me fire this fear out. I'm saying it like Russian nesting dolls. I'm just saying that because it's those little things that stack inside. And so this version of
here's a new one.
Yes. So it's like
we're not even close to the middle yet.
Levels of awareness and levels of you that is existing in a way that this condensed, contracted form has a more limited and finite memory than these other bigger, more expansive versions of you.
Yes.
And in this respect, that, you know, if every man and woman is a star, that idea of being something, a big being into smaller beings and everything contracting down, keeping things without the memory down on this base level, like literally the same way we are mining rocks. It is a mining process of consciousness with like us as that level of these beings, where there's like a waking up about the processing. Like it's that processing and threading it back into the idea of wanting the longing and the nostalgia for the Star Trek experience is so relevant and easy to glamour and bedazzle us because it's related to the lost memory complex of the collective in which we are and were in aspects of those different star beings. There's parts of us that have been and were in that star.
My soul's drawn to the sky because I'm also there.
And it's we were listening to the Sanjase stuff with the, like, I don't know all the names, but the dude who's
Zaysan or Z,
who's had the interactions with the daughter of Sanjase, but her name's also Sanjase.
Yes.
Okay. So, but that story and the element of that with her being a version of him, that's not uncommon in a lot of contact stories. Not all of them, but a lot of people report like that once they have this contact, that there's something that feels like it's them. And I don't know if that's like star family, star, like what is the quantum nature of our identity? What are our various dimensional nesting dolls of our psychic complexes and personality? Who are we at this level? And I think that the who are we question on an individual level stays so kinked up in the same extent that the planetary's history is in this shielded false matrix of who are we. Like the whole stuff of buried archaeological, historical things related to Egypt and pyramids and giants and things, all of that revelation is part of what pulls up who this planet is, the lies about who and what the planet is, who and what the history has been, and that even bridges into the science of what we understand science to be, how advanced technology is, and there's a lot of bubbles there.
How unadvanced.
Yeah.
How unadvanced our technology is and how advanced our older technology was.
Or just what level of the bubble or the nesting doll you've been in. We're all somewhere in it.
I was watching this thing that was talking about Tesla, and there used to be this magazine, like kind of like a Popular Mechanics or Popular Science, right? And it would like print these articles about people's new discoveries, much like fucking Popular Mechanics or Popular Science. And it had a bunch of things from Tesla in there, where he was like, oh, I created this fucking weapon that we can create waves on the ocean to annihilate fleets of ships or coastlines and all this other stuff using sound resonance.
And that's from where and when?
from
Talking about that thing that like thumps the ground.
No, this was just by using sound frequency.
Really?
And it also he went on further beyond that from just like creating a tidal wave through fucking vibration.
Resonance.
That he could do the same thing and basically just explode something. So like a ship, you could just basically make a resonance that just creates the atoms to explode.
An incoherent vibrational pattern. Like
that he was talking about selling to the government, right? And it's like, oh, we don't talk about that stuff anymore. But like, it was so out of the realm of possibility. And this is like before the 40s, right? That he was doing this shit. It was Tesla before he like in his prime of here's everything I'm inventing. Before they were like, oh, JP Morgan Chase is gonna blackball you bitch, because they weren't making any money off of him getting free energy out to everyone. And then they painted him out to be a crazy person and all that shit. But before that, he was inventing all these crazy things. Like, that's crazy. Then we have, there's actually articles, I think, from back in the day of catastrophes that happened, like the Gulf tidal wave or whatever, that like wiped out a whole bunch of coastal shit. That came out the same time as his article about this fucking wave, right, that he could create. And it's like, oh, okay, so like these are just testing grounds, like all these different things that happened were just testing grounds for these weapons that he was creating.
I mean, I totally don't doubt it. It's not.
I feel like this goes with every one of our greatest scientists, is that at the end, they all painted them out to be crazy, losing their mind, or all this, because they realized that their advancements were destroying instead of advancing. And they were used for the purpose of destroying. And then when they tried to change the tune about advancement instead of destruction, that's when they were blackballed, called crazy. Everything that they ever did was swept even further.
So when you said they, are you saying
government?
No. I'm saying like Nikola Tesla. Like, are you saying multiple scientists or just him?
Oh, multiple scientists. Even Einstein. So
is it, I feel like it's kind of like religion. You pick and choose the pieces of the
they use them to a point, and then when the person get used so much that they realize, like Oppenheimer, right? Oh shit! I created a fucking nuclear bomb. Like, I have become death, right? Mm. Then to cover up the usage or the destruction and the worst parts of it, the government will then, when this person has the whole epitome of like epiphany shit of, oh fuck, this isn't where we need to go, this is where we need to go, they would be like, that's not profitable for us. They'd defund them. This would be the banks, like JP Morgan Chase did this to Tesla because they were the ones who funded a lot of his experiments. And then when he was like, free energy, cut him off, called him crazy, blackballed him on all sides. Like, this is seriously like the smartest man alive, okay? Blackballed. Because what he wanted to bring out was free energy.
Well, that kind of, and he's just one little example of that.
Einstein did the same thing. At the end, they called him crazy because he was like, holy shit, I also was part of this. Like, atomic was not the way to go. Like, a lot of his theories, he was beyond those now, and was starting to speak into the quantum realm of shit. And they were like, that doesn't fit with our fucking timeline of disclosure. Covered it up again, painted him out to be a crazy person at the end, and then just propped up these, oh, he invented this, he did that, or even Newton, like, with Newton's laws and all this. Like, you get all this happy shit named after you, so that you only concentrate on this section of their life, not the next section where they started doing greater things, right?
I think that, you're just describing, I would say, all of the hiding of science behind the curtain, when the science...
Oh, it's been being hidden behind the curtain for a very long time.
For sure. So Nikola Tesla, like, a lot of like the free
we still use the first version of a power plant that he created out of a dream where he woke up and just put it together and made it work, and it generated electricity.
Steam turbines?
Yep. We still use them today. That was his first.
Yeah, we're still on steam
turbines.
turbines.
And we're still using steam turbines.
So I'm totally not an engineer.
I mean, this is crazy. This was invented, back in before in the 20s or so? You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Instead of
massive, then we had nuclear power.
Instead of harvesting electricity,
we're still doing the same thing. Like, this isn't even his form of, being able to capture Earth's resonance and that frequency and give out free electricity to everyone. And they were like, you're crazy. All your money's gone. Because he'd already proven all of this, right? He's the grandfather of electricity for everything. He is the god of our electrical supply and plants that we have now. And we're still using his basic shit. We didn't even go to the next level Tesla shit.
So it's not as a collective. That's
some faction of humanity, and so that's where, Michael Sola's theory of a breakaway civilization that began going off-world. So some part of our civilization post-World War II.
The effort to suppress the technology that these scientists were coming up with at that point was related to staying in power. So those advanced technologies
these were mostly financial institutions who were doing this. And they had so much money and so much influence that they created this whole demonized version of the person, and then we're in charge of writing the history of that.
We're just describing the cabal. I mean,
you're describing all of history.
Yeah, you're describing
whoever had the most power and money and the most printing presses,
and that's what I feel like is in the throes of changing somewhat, to the degree that those characters are responsible for covering up science and using it in a weaponized fashion.
And these are people and businesses and things that are still active today.
Oh yeah, but I mean everything's been business.
There's a paper trail there's a receipt longer than the CBS receipt on all of this.
Yeah, I mean, so it's been business as usual on the planet for a long time.
I mean, it still is.
And it still is. And you can say it's just about money and profit.
This is where I'll get into that is if we go to digital currency, if we go to digital everything, dude, you're taking even more power away, right? Like now these companies who are like, let's do this, are also the ones who are invested in all of this. Like, they're major investors in AI and for all of this technology. So, for them to get their debt wiped too would be amazing for them, because now they're still the ones in control of the new currency.
Yeah, in terms of technology, we want to steer away from central, who controls the ID, who controls it? Is it, self-custody, like Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, or is it you have to log into a corporation's account. You sign all these agreements. They harvest all your data, just like apparently Arduino.
That's the way we're going.
Arduino was acquired recently.
That is the way
we're
going.
They own all of your code.
The Bitcoin has been taken out in cash or whatever. There's all this just weird shit about strong cryptocurrencies that's going on. Which, I mean, I already kind of expected this with their talk about digital currencies anyway. Is that they needed to collapse the strongest one, which would give the individuals all of the power and ability, right? There wouldn't be a way for me to control you if you have access to all your value right here. Now, digital wallet and all that, then it will force regulation. It'll force the advancement of AI to back this regulation, because there would be too many transactions in a day for someone to just be sitting there watching it and everything get red flagged. So you're going to need more surveillance. It becomes a more surveillanced area. which means more and more different types of new surveillance other than what you're already carrying on you. And the ability to be able to shut you off having access to any of your money or purchasing anything.
Yeah, so this is
I mean, that can
basically
be-
the 1984 timeline
I was going to say
of
that's all
digital
very
dystopia.
dystopian.
I mean, that's
don't think we're gonna get that.
where we're heading as our government.
So that's a possible timeline.
But, so this
Some
will bring
people
up
argue
mine.
we're already in.
I feel like we already are in it, but my question is, if like there are these white hats or so-called people working with these federations, then how are they doing? How are they pushing these agendas? The same.
I think it's just
you can't. You're not going to tell me that the real Donald Trump is in a mountain controlling the world, while clone Trump is doing whatever.
The white hats and the black hats. It's just the yin and yang, and it just rolls me back into the idea of the dark and the light side of a God matrix.
It's the create a problem, present the solution.
Hegelian dialectics.
So we're doing that here. Like that's what our government is doing. But even towards pushing for disclosure and everything else, it's got that type of feel to it. That they're pushing the narrative, they're pushing the control to try to get you to sign on board before you get the whole picture revealed, right? And then once the whole picture is revealed, it's too late. You already signed.
And something I want to discuss on this podcast was also say I think that's where we come in as the ground crew, as we're cutely calling ourselves as basically.
I do. I feel that 100%.
Yeah, I'll just speak from my own experience. I do believe that I chose to come to Earth, chose to come to the parents that I did, because I remember other lifetimes on other planets where we have technology and we have nature, and we're using both in a healthy, benevolent way. And so it is possible to have both. It's not this or that. It's this and that, but it's all in how you use it. Nothing is inherently evil. Nothing is inherently good or bad. It's all in how it's used. And so in regards to technology, what I really want, and I think what a lot of people want, is open source, offline, anonymous, private, and full self-custody where, you own your own data or whatnot. And this can be done with robotics. It can be done with AI.
This can be done by destroying all computers and you being control of yourself.
Yeah, that is one way to go about it. Another way to go about it.
You can't steal your identity if there's no way for me to steal your identity.
Yeah, so a lot of people use
But if I can
Linux
create all kinds of crazy ways to steal your identity, it feels like it's like...
Well, I'm saying we create the new solutions. Yeah. Just like
we create
Malcolm Bendel's creating, a retrofit to the gas engine. We can create technologies that don't take advantage of us and steal our data and sell it to whoever. We can create technology that is more in harmony with nature, that is symbiotic, that is natural, that is organic, so we can do these things. It takes time because we're born into this society that's already, this way. And
here's the other thing, and I don't think a lot of people actually think of this, is that what if they were to start trying to push digital identities and digital currencies? They're already doing this around the world, by the way. There's multiple places that have been the testing grounds.
Yeah, the UK.
Including the UK, India.
Australia, I think, is pretty...
China. China is one of the biggest ones because they were so fully already big brother, let's say. They had more surveillance there than anywhere else in the world. So they'd have that. What do you think we have? And they're literally using people's social media accounts, every camera, everything you say, anywhere, anytime, against you to cut you out of the system. It is all digital currency and digitally run. The social credit is what they call it, right? So if your social credit gets destroyed, you have no access to money.
I'm familiar with that. That's happening in China.
So now India has that with just their IDs. And some of these places some of these tech companies and stuff only will let you in if you go to it. You have to go to the digital ID. So whether you want to or not, in order for you to work, is going to be presented, much like they do with everything, as a non-optional choice.
Well,
right? So if you want to make your money, you're going to have to get a digital ID. And no one's going to question this because they're just like, oh, it's because for my security, for my security, for my security. Because that's what they keep saying.
I mean, you're going like, you want to live totally off the, I mean, I feel like there is a totally off the grid option, but I don't get right now the problem with a digital ID, because like, if you have a Facebook, you got a digital ID. Like, and if you don't think somebody's got a digital ID,
everybody already does. But look, everyone already has.
So what's the big deal with them wanting some new digital ID?
It's for them to use it.
For what?
Against you for every purpose or any purpose at all.
Well,
if I can get control, well, right, like, they don't have control of your mind.
You want my text number?
Even though they totally can. Yeah, and right, I agree with you 100%. They already have these abilities, but it would look a little dystopian if they started to do it.
I don't
but
think
if you, as you ease people into something,
well,
instead of forcing them into it, it's not really. I mean, if you ease somebody into something, they'll easily accept it. If you try to force something on someone, they won't.
If we're looking at that from the different angles, like, okay, so the things happening around the world in the different cultures, you could see as pilots of programs that we're all succumbing to. But I can also say, like, the same way I could say different ET experiments are going on. The way the different lineages are going through different cultures and backgrounds and ethnicities. So the experiments that you're contracted under through your karma matches what you resonantly signed up and on for anyway. So I don't sweat any of the dystopian stuff. Again, I want to get in where I fit in with my psychic load. What am I here to do? Who am I here to be? And like all the other stuff is like extraneous.
I agree with you, and that's why I'm saying like just changing the whole system over is either forcing people to accept something a certain way, or what? What's your other option?
So, you know what? To a degree, I don't worry. Like in some cases,
I like having choices.
I know.
I don't like having a false choice.
The only reason,
like you got to.
The only reason the playground is expanding at all is because the upper management at hand doesn't have a choice about expanding the scope of the range of frequency. And this is because of some stuff that not many people are going to like hear or get. The idea of like being in that band of the galaxy where there is just more light happening. There's just too much light happening to keep the same shadows cast. And so if you have to allow everybody a wider scope, you've got to paint a different picture. And to get people to sign on to a new upgraded contract, they're not going to sell us a dystopia. It'll be a utopia of sorts. And you may not have so much choice about how you ascend up in the graduating scale of it. But I think we're going to have more choice than before. And that's why there's more of an effort to bedazzle what you do with your choice, because you have such a big choice. It's like your contract is up and you've got the opportunity to transcend it at this time. But if something they can dangle in front of you looks attractive enough,
and that's where
you'll sign on.
That it's not being presented as an option, right? When you start doing this shit, they're presenting it as this is the way that life goes. And not being clear or straightforward with it is tricking people. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
It's you no longer have a choice whenever you're like, oh, well, I thought I had to do this to get paid. And then you're like, well, I didn't really want this, but you were tricked into doing it. You see what I'm saying?
It's the same.
There was supposed to be this whole supposed to be this whole clear and open, right? And there is no clear and open. I mean, it's pretty clear to me what they're doing, but it's not clear to people who have no idea about anything other further.
I think it's as clear as you're able to get with it, but the same magic in play when you have an emotional compulsion to buy this advertised product or that is the same emotional compulsion manipulation that can sway you. So this is compulsion manipulation that they have used and have been using with AI, which is algorithm targeted ads, everything, all of this stuff is what. So how do you know that your choice is actually even your choice anymore? That's fair. That it is. It's getting extremely.
See what I'm saying? So like that's how manipulative all of this is. That if you see what they're giving you as an option,
yeah,
it's not a choice to whether you can stay cash, but it's going to devalue cash and it's going to value this. But if you put all your cash into this digital currency, it'll skyrocket because of the value of gold. Well, what option do you think everyone's going to choose there? I mean, financially speaking, it's a no-brainer. Everyone's going to put their money into digital currency. No one's going to be like, I'm just going to keep this worthless cash that it takes 200 times more of to pay for.
All the money game, the money game too. We need a new currency, and I don't know.
Dude, money game is the worst religion that we have on this fucking planet. That's why I'm saying that, like, let's just change our religion. I mean, you're incorporating more of the planet in this manner and that manner. Like, it's like creating a new religion.
Well, it's going to take us some stepping stones to change the currency system.
With this reality, you'd have to wonder if people really knew all the truth, what kind of crazy religions would pop up out of it.
Well, I mean, I'm joking to say, like, religion is based on the scriptures. And all and scripts. And scripts.
You know, that's an interesting word. Scriptures, kind of like writing a drug script.
No, that's not. It's time.
It's a script. Like,
that's so funny.
Here's the movie,
but also a narrative.
Yes.
That's funny.
We're getting our new collective prescription. They are going to prescribe the new religion, the new science, the new pill they want you to swallow is the script.
It's God.
And so. Questioning who has been writing the scripts, and the various scripts come with E.T. Origins and God Matrix. And so something sexy on the way to weave the core religions together, I just see as being a next step. There's something about our history and religion and science.
It's Android Jesus.
Android Jesus 2.0, yeah.
Oh, man.
So
Peter Thiel, an android Jesus. He's birthing him right now through Sora 3.
But yeah, so I think that's why new souls are being born now that have memories of other societies on other planets or past lives that we have lived here or even future lives. And if you accept the idea that time travel is possible, then time itself may be extremely flexible, malleable, and we're ultimately all creating our own realities, with our belief systems, with our consistent thoughts, feelings, and emotions, which then translate into action. So we can change our environment. We can change how, money is being used, probably more to control than to give freedom. People can choose new money. You can create new systems of money, new systems of energy, new systems of relationship, just the way that you interact with your personal friends and family. And,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we change ourselves, then that by healing ourselves and healing our environment, we create these nodes that eventually spread to the whole planet where we all are collectively healing and choosing technologies that respect our freedom, our privacy, anonymity, and all that.
Yes, I was just thinking
and everyone may not want that, and that's the beauty of Earth, is that you can do what you want to do and create your own communities. I think in the future, like these technologies, off-grid sort of eco-villages where people are living off the land in harmony with nature, that is the kind of environment or something that I envision where you could discover a new healthy way to use technology that isn't bringing you away from nature, away from our natural habitat, and bringing it more in harmony with it. So,
like an over unity device, that kind of concept. Mm-hmm. So currency, I'm tuning in around.
The only currency we need is free energy.
Well, I mean, yes.
That's the only current.
Currency is energy. Currency is the electric impetus of Uranus. So we have this
a movement.
It's a movement. It's a circuitry. It's a circulation. And so we have been using a petrodollar. All of this earthy, like tangible whatnot. There is a new currency coming online. And I know there's a lot of techno metaphors there, and the technology is in it too. The technique with which the currency is run. How do you juggle back and forth? It's the commerce of sales, of how you do a back and forth exchange between a positive and a negative pole of a circuitry, and how that balances out and harmony. So that's the currency. Since we've all been guzzling gas and burning through petrodollars, we now have to, the digital is like a crutch, is an intermediary to understanding how all money is about an energetic exchange, and is something in our technique and our technology and our knowledge and our understanding changes how we circuit and run and understanding what our energy is. The way we do commerce and sales and business and all changes. So that all of that energy of movement and navigating money is the same energy of moving and navigating through time and space. There's an interconnection, and the way that the money system, Babylonian system, has been poisoned in the way that it has for so long, does kind of make things crusty. It does make things hard, and all of this resistance to change that we're seeing. But I think that the digital thing that's coming through isn't going to last. Anything that's not substantiated in reality is not going to last, but you need something to keep everybody's psychic mind. Okay, like, how do I spend? We're all using credit cards and whatnot.
How do we spend the space cash?
How do we bridge
galactic credits?
How do we bridge that time before the technologies and the energies are at a point where the understanding of currency and money and cash and all that is different? You talking about the technology, I keep thinking about some of these ETs, and not all ETs are the same, and there's all this different technology, but the ones with the good stuff is in harmony with nature.
Yeah.
It is in harmony with everything. It's not weaponized. I mean, like, it's over unity producing all of that, and I'm on board for that.
It's energy exchange.
It's
energy
equivalent
exchange or greater.
Yes.
So it's either giving more energy back than what it's taking, not what we have, which is taking more than it's giving.
Engineering, it's constructive. It's, instead of destructive interference, it's constructive. So it's a wave that's building energy because we're in harmony. And so,
anybody that's playing Star Wars, anybody that's playing in the weaponized, militarized version of new toys is not dealing with that, because that
they're not dealing with themselves.
Because if your culture is not spiritually advanced more than it's technologically advanced, it poisons the well. The wealth of wellness is no longer juicy if you are not more spiritually advanced and technologically advanced.
Well, they should be hand in hand.
But they should. Well, I mean, we can should in one hand.
They should. Yeah, they should be hand in hand. Well, a perfect society will be hand in hand.
I can't help but keep thinking of George Kavasilas and how he discusses that the way we're using technology is kind of parasitic, and he's saying there's an energy with the current technology we're using,
100%.
If it's been funded or it's somehow created.
I was just pointing out the energy that they're using to create what we have coming isn't giving me hope for a greater. Like, I understand what you're talking about with like you need the whole stepping stone thing to get into the new. But while you watch what they're using to get to this stepping stone,
they're not. I don't think they're stepping us in a direction that gets us out of their game. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not.
They're setting up to keep us in a game.
Yes.
Where your option is there on the table of like, I'm not participating.
I'm not signing
anymore.
that contract.
And like, that's kind of where I am. Like, change money. If you're going to erase debt and all that history, erase it and erase me from your fucking whole system. I'm just going to be outside here. I'm literally going to be outside.
And anyone can walk outside of the system.
I think that option, I think we will see a time in space where they talk about the split world, you know what I mean? I think there's a period of
maybe
option.
it is the Jetsons and the Flintstones.
At the same time.
But the idea that there will be a certain amount that, like, if you want a less contracted version, that you can kind of live more off-grid, out of the city structure, out of the societal upgrade to it all. And I feel like those natural well springs are where the most benevolent contact and advancement happens. And I'm and I feel like this whole, I don't know why, but that story of the Sanjase is like what's fresh in my head now. And that concept of these meetings of heaven and earth, in a sense of
just you meeting yourself
in this context, that version of yourself that is coming in a UFO knows you down here on the ground, on the planet, quite well, and your mission. And there is a mission in alignment of discovery and integration. And I think that bridges into some of the George stuff too, that it's not about, the one path is this ascension, graduation, advancement, upgrade, etc. And it loses sight of an integration, harmonization. And the technologies and the advancements that are holistically harmonic are the ones that are combining in that fashion, the two into one, not just stepping up and getting ahead in an upgrade.
Yeah.
So that's the discernment that I see on the table coming, that I feel like is the real talk. Like, again, it comes to the soul and the psyche of it, when all of the dazzling cosmic candy options and technology and money thing, like all the muggle stuff. Like I know there's the government's gonna change some stuff up this year and such. It just really seems quite likely. And how much choice you have in the system. I mean, I think there will be a lot of like effort to start something new or sign on to something new and fresh and different that you don't fully understand rather fast. I do think that kind of theme could emerge.
It seems to be a pretty predominant theme.
Do you agree to these terms? Yes.
Yeah. It's like, you probably already agreed to some of these terms. You don't even realize it because you got onto Roblox today and there was a fucking new update to users agreements. You're like, yeah, let me play the game.
But I'll say this, to the extent that any organizing entities or corporate bodies or whatever that is trying to corral consciousness in a timeline that is too constricted for the natural organic fit, I do think the natural organic nature of life is supersedes that, is above and beyond.
It will every time.
And so it will bust. It will bust at the seam somewhere where there's a crack in that. And that's what happens throughout the cycles and times where, the control is too tight whenever, life needs to breathe.
Well, my bet is that the same portals that a lot of Atlanteans took and escaped are going to open up for those same souls again.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And it's going to be like, oh, you guys are doing this? Oh, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah, well, from the sound of it, the inner Earth Atlanteans.
I don't think that there's a difference between our like us talking about inner Earth. I don't think it's actually inner Earth. It's literally alternate Earth.
I mean,
okay, let's put it that way. It's like parallel.
It's not
parallel Earth.
It's INTER.
Yes, it's parallel, right? So like these parallels sometimes come real close together because there's never a straight line.
Yeah.
And they just touch. And it opens these things. And through a lot of my experiences, You've
experienced some of those.
Really resonates hard. Is that like you perceive two timelines. And you see where both are heading. Similar but different. And it's like you have vast knowledge of both. And it's a matter of like, oh, which one do I step into or stay into? And I've seen it all the way into the future where it just becomes like a portal, which is just like a haze, right? And you just walk through and you're in this point where you're already been going to, like, everything we do now here, all these actions are leading to this point, and no matter what happens, if you're a part of that, it just opens and you could take whomever's with you. And it's like I've had this real drawing to that ever since, like, experienced it so many times, is that I know that it's going to happen. And, like, I don't worry about crazy bullshit or like, oh, let me choose who I'm going to sign on with. I'm just here observing at the moment until this time. And, like, me explaining this and expanding this to people is that, like, they can't change you. It's kind of like the stepping out of the matrix idea and stepping into your own reality. Except this reality already has existed and has always existed. You've just been trapped in the parallel. So it's a matter of just realizing where you are and stepping to the side. And it's like, it's as easy as walking through, like, I talk about, like, the horses and all that in the field at night. Where do they go? Do they just disappear, or are they off in their own little land? You can call them, you can see nothing out there in the field, and then just through the mist, they just materialize and appear. Who's to say that they're not just off in the parallel?
So funny when you talk about the horses too, and just the horse dragon connection.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, I mean, the Atlanteans talked about the same thing of, like, before the.
it's kind of like Schrodinger's cat. Just put it in like a more modern thing too. Like,
Yeah.
Is it in the box? Is it out of the box? Like,
No, it's right here with us right now. You're just not observing it.
so that is the interdimensionality of things, and it's so funny because I keep hearing that the government branding for the ETs and all that, they are more akin to understanding them as inter or extra dimensional beings.
Well, they want to capture your quantum signature by creating a digital ID. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Is you're using quantum technology when you're using your phone right now.
I'm gonna be honest.
We don't call it that, but you literally were using quantum technology every day.
That does. I know. I'm a muggle in this technology sense, and I feel a little sillyish that I don't know all the technology I'm using, and I know that I'm like a lot of common people in that techno department, that I don't know what quantum all this stuff is. Like, I get a little bit of what quantum science is, but they're talking
Literally,
about
every one of your memory chips works as quantum technology. You're like, wait, so we're just coming into the talk of quantum technology now. Well, then what was this microchip? It already is quantum technology. You're already working on a quantum level. Now you're trying to go sub-quantums?
They're
right?
talking like sub.
How deep are we going here? You know?
That I've heard that word quantum in relationship to currency, which for someone who's used to dollars and cents is blowing the gasket. The same thing as like the cryptocurrency. I know cryptocurrency is the intermediary to digital currency, intermediary to quantum finance, like whatever they're trying to step currency into for something new. But we're going to need some new science classes to understand quantum.
Our currency has been our religions forever. Like, right now, the only thing that gives the dollar any value is our belief that it is.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Just your belief. It has nothing to do with any of the blood, sweat, or tears. You can sell that for a fiat dollar if you want.
Yeah, no, you said money has become the religion.
It has been.
No, I agree. I think in that, I think that also with science, with that there's people that are Christian and Muslim and all the different religions and all of this stuff is out there, but as a world, or maybe it's just our American perspective, I feel like the world has become a lot more secular. Even in the places that pay lip service to going to church and doing the traditions or whatever, there has been such a almost like a malaise that nobody has seen anything that's been spiritually pronounced enough that that's a real reality, other than you go to the church and you see your priest and your guru and you pay your tithes and all of your stuff in that department, that it's really been about science and money, power, and that's what's created a lot of the corruption that has become the dark stench.
Well,
of
we wouldn't
philosophy.
have science if it wasn't for religion in the first place.
Well, that's
All
true.
science was started to prove the Bible was in God.
Because
So-
science and religion have that. Well, I mean, I think if religion through Sagittarius is the seeking of truth, and science has
Well,
that
that would
same
be when
aim.
you get into astronomers and others and people who they considered not knowing of anything, who later became people who are like, oh, dude was fucking right. Galileo was right. The planets are round, man.
So it's common to see that the scientists are seekers
And that was still
of truth.
pushed by religion and money
Well,
at the same time. It was like,
so
but then
science.
thousands of years later, we're like, dude was right, and he didn't even have running water, right?
And he still got to truth. There's an inner standing on that. But the science route to truth and then the religious routes to seeking truth, there's an intersection between those of seeking truth. But if there's been campaigns to literally limit, diminish, and distort truth, that's the web of disillusionment and deception.
It's
that
called
we've got
theory.
to,
And all of our science works off of a lot of theory.
well, that's part of the running joke that isn't funny, perhaps.
It isn't funny. None of it's fun.
All of that science seeking and money has created a world and a society that is not spiritually curious about the psyche so much. And that I think is a lot of the poisoning that's happened. That once something turns on that quest of understanding soul that has just seemed obsolete for everybody in a mechanical, technological sense of just money and technology, that's where I think evolution is in a biologically organic sense. If you want to get away from all these tinker toys of technologies and things we create, we are a technology of sorts that's natural and organic, and something about that inner soul journey and the extent to which every man and woman is a star, your solar being, and that concept that is, I mean, a little cliche in the new cage of Christ consciousness. I do still find something in that shining bright, that we all have this heart star force that is us, that is immutable, and getting in touch with that is I think what a lot of the other stuff is trying to bedazzle us into distractions over. Fret for your, all the
trying
stuff.
to
For your
Well,
life,
your own
fear,
shininess.
ultimately, fear, it's like you have money and like they're controlling people with fear, because fear is like the deepest emotional response that we have that overrides, our thinking and intelligence in our brain.
That doesn't grow in that frequency.
Yeah, because, we've survived the jungle, and so like running.
Because nobody knows where their food comes from.
Yeah, so running
The
from the
grocery
tiger, you need to shut down your, there's sympathetic and parasympathetic, but you need to turn on, I believe it's the sympathetic system. Anyways, it turns off your immune system. So if you're always in fear, you're easily, you can easily get sick. You won't properly absorb, your nutrients. So fear ultimately is there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and it ultimately just stands for false evidence appearing real. So
But if you think, just thinking about
facing our fears and not being afraid while being aware.
well, fear. To have fear is like you're generating a negative stream of response, and if you are this infinite creator being, like it just comes down to not understanding, not properly understanding and utilizing that which we are. Our sovereign nature is so stepped on and stepped down at this level, and the analogy and
We don't
comparison
even have sovereignty.
that you don't even use I was about to say it wrong, but they say you only use like 1% of your brain, and there's 99% of it that you don't do anything with or whatnot. That's the analogy of how little of our full capacity I think is running right now.
And I think a great example of just how powerful we are is the fact that in order for, drugs to be released on the market, they have to test that it's not a placebo. because the placebo effect is super effective, and they've even shown that nocebo is even more powerful because it involves that fear response. But yes, placebo is so powerful that you can just take a sugar pill and cure yourself of some sickness or disease because it happens so often. So they have to test that that's not going on. But that in itself is a miracle that we can think it into existence.
Well, that's, it's funny. That's a little bit of the magic woo-woo to what I see. I mean, I love some crystals and all, but the idea of you have this crystal for that and this crystal for that. I know they all have different vibrations and flavors. But it's like, what are you giving it? I've also heard it equated to as a permission slip.
So Bashar, you're referring, yep. So this is very common in Starseed culture. So a lot of people listen to a being channeled by Daryl Anka, whose name is Bashar, and he's a half gray, half human hybrid. And he talks about how you technically, according to the Sasani's physics, that the way they understand physics is that everything ultimately is a construction from consciousness, and because of that, your belief systems are what create reality. And if you want to change something, you just change the belief. So technically, everything is a permission slip. So placebo, when sometimes, people can genuinely have, miracles in these churches where people, they put their hands to their foreheads, or you go to some guru and he really did heal me. Well, the truth is you had so much faith that you placeboed yourself into healing yourself. So whether it was through a rock or, a guru or a teacher or
a sugar pill,
it doesn't matter. It could be a thought in your head. It's all permission slips, all the way up, all the way down.
So, so there's an intersection between how much willpower an individual has to write themselves an instant permission slip.
Exactly.
That's what we call a miracle. If you can write yourself an instant permission slip for whatever. Or what I'm saying, okay, so the planet and a collective is an aggregation of... a collective is an aggregation of permission slips. So if you have a collective in a state of agreement, for example, that if you jump off a building, you can't just fly, your permission slip is kind of like in that pool, in that ocean pulling against
it's affecting everyone else's permission slips.
Exactly.
And basically,
the people are in there forging.
We are getting, there's a sense that the collective's permission slip is expanding. Yeah. Like what we are getting permission to understand and do by virtue of them giving us better science and understanding. Yes, they're still going
people
to
choose that.
But it's expanding.
Choose is a very...
It's expanding. And once people at least get that this
if you don't have all the
is not a cool
if you don't have all the information before the choice, is what I'm saying, is it's not a choice. So if there's a preaching of choice, everyone has a choice, which everyone does, and they have to give it to them, is that they're looking as if this has to be your only option. So they're only presenting you with this and not telling you about another option until the time comes where there's the choice, and it's like, oh yeah, but there's also this option for those of you who didn't go this route. And then we're like, wait, what do you mean for those of us who didn't go this route? You're like, oh, well, you already signed on. You don't get to go to that one.
I'm not even talking about somebody like having a specific agreement. I'm just saying that what we are as a collective able to do will be bigger and vaster in the next year or two. Like that, just the expansion that's coming, like beyond how they want to corral it and structure it. Everybody will have a bigger palette to paint from or permission slip board. Can you still get talked into not using as much of it? Absolutely. And are they going to sell you on something that is not the full extent? Most probably. But we'll see. We'll see what actually comes of it.
I don't do permission slips.
Should we wrap up the podcast?
Yeah, I was just going to compare like the sense of an individual permission slip, like via your personal belief system, the way that a personal belief system is intermingling in the ocean of a bigger collective belief system. There's just an intersection, and the bigger collective belief system is getting ready to mutate and adjust, so that you already if you have a strong enough will and beliefs, I mean, you can do your miracle magic. I mean, if you're that monk on that mountain,
it's called placebo
so,
epigenetics.
So anybody can. Like, are you disciplined enough? I don't know that I am. I don't think I'm going to fly. Exactly. But
tell you it's doing whatever for yourself.
But the range of frequency for everybody to approach something greater is coming. And if you sign on for something less than, there's that option too.
It's all on the menu.
Don't sell yourself short.
That would be a really good finishing note.
Don't sell yourself for a dime when you could have $1.
For sure.
But yeah, I do. I think there are many different possible timelines and futures, and yeah, the important thing is that you put your focus and your efforts and your thoughts and emotions towards your desired future, your desired timeline, and you just step into it, and the more you put yourself in that frequency, the more you will simply wake up the next day and start attracting that which you already are. That's law of attraction and whatnot.
Yeah, just make sure you're aiming yourself in the direction you want to go, and not just a direction that someone has sold you on something that seems good from someone else.
First, you got to know yourself.
You have to know yourself to know what you want.
How many people know themselves?
Yeah,
know thyself.
So know thyself is the first step.
The journey,
or if you don't know what you want, you can be talked into something that is attractively presented.
Yeah,
as being pleasant enough. Exactly.
Don't
so
be seduced.
know the most specific. I don't know.
Know what you want. If you
articulation that you like.
You say you want something, you have to know exactly what that is. Be clear about it.
You can say you want something. It doesn't mean you know what you want.
Yeah. So the more you know what you want. Actually, Bashar talks about this too. It's about discovering what you do prefer and what you don't prefer.
Hicks talks about it too. It's the idea of the more you have the contrast, you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want.
It helps.
So it's all about. It's all how you articulate the truth. Yeah, it's just it all boils down to Apollo said, "Know thyself."
Again, also how you're getting the truth articulated to you.
It's a quantum communication babble with the universe, because
just listen to your own intuition.
Yeah, our brains are quantum biological computers. So yeah, much love all. We'll catch you on the next episode or whatnot, and yeah, I gotta use the bathroom.